So, welcome back to the Cookie Jar Golf
It's
podcast.
embarrassing. We're in the Marine and Lawn Hotel. It's embarrassing. We're in the lobby, holding microphones.
It's quiet because everyone's on the golf course, aren't they? So
this is embarrassing. Why are we doing this?
Watch this. No way!
Hello and welcome back to the Cookie Jar Golf podcast. I am Tom Mills, and today I'm joined by my friend Sam Williams.
Thomas, it's a pleasure to be here. Where are we sat?
Well, I think we're going to leave that stupid intro in. Yeah, we are sat in the Marine and Lawn Hotel. We are in the lobby, surrounded by too many
It's
people
quite
to be
quiet. Everyone's
podcasting.
out playing golf, aren't they?
We're looking down at the 16th at North Berwick and the site of where Bruce nearly lost his teeth.
Yeah, against the wall.
Against the wall, yeah.
Wait, yeah.
So-
Don't argue with that wall.
No, I mean, knifing a wedge into it from 160 yards was
No, from about 5 feet.
from about 5 feet.
And then went 160 yards behind him.
140 miles an hour wasn't ideal.
We digress. Just big thank you to Marine Lawn for having us last few days. So we're playing a bit of golf up in East Lothian, seeing a few people, playing a few games of golf, and inspired by Dunbar today. So we wanted to do a short podcast on it. Before we go into talking about Dunbar, though, Tom, can we talk about St Andrews without giving too much away?
Yeah. St Andrews is going to be large. The 150th is there. It is the hottest ticket in town, and you can't get accommodation, you can't find anywhere to drink, you can't get tickets. It is locked up.
Well, I think it's going to be bedlam, isn't it? And I don't want to share too much because I think we're going to be working like crazy now between now and the end of July to sort of make this what I think it can be. But there's going to be some events going on around the Open. Proximity to the 18th green would be, I mean, it's the sort of shot that I can shank. It's sub 50 yards distance. You know, we're talking that close. I think it could be incredible. So I don't want to share too much on here because there's quite a bit to be confirmed and sorted. But I think there is an action for anyone that's going to be in and around St Andrews in the week of the Open. Would definitely like you to get in touch with us on contact.
Yeah, we'll
at
see what we
Cookie
can
Jar
do for you
Golf.
guys, and I think you'll be very, very pleased with the outcome. Do get in touch and we'll.
Yeah, no, without being daft though, look, we do want people to get in touch because it'll be. We're going to be able to start to run some events around this where there's going to be, whether it's food and drinks, whether it's just meet and greets, whether there's some, live podcasting or whatever. There's going to be some really cool stuff going on, music, the lot.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time in the jar.
So, yeah, get in touch with us and let us know so we can kind of just communicate with you as those plans develop, really.
There's nothing quite like being excited about the jar than playing golf. And we're up in East Lothian just talking about what we can do in St Andrews when we go over to Fife. Literally, we can see it from here pretty much, looking across the Firth of Forth from East Lothian over to Fife. But we're up in East Lothian. We have played Dunbar this morning, which, like you say, was the inspiration because it genuinely was mind-bogglingly good. The condition of it was absolutely...
I've played it before, Dunbar. You haven't, have you?
You were very young. You were
12 years ago, I want to say, when I played it, I was up on a stag do and I hadn't played the same amount of links golf that perhaps I had, now. But I remember thinking then, this is really cool. Like, there's a lot of vibes about this because of that stone wall and everything. And we'll talk about it. But going back, I knew it was going to be good. We were teed off at 7:36, so we had the whole course in front of us. We could play fast. Really cool playing with Zander. So
yeah, Zander Culverwell.
Zander Culverwell, who's the Scottish Amateur Champion 2013. He's an honorary member there.
Yeah. Well, after the round, we went in for because, like we said, we played early, so we went in for a bacon sandwich after the round. And Zander, I mean, it was a clear point, but he was like, "Oh, I don't like to sit here. I don't like to sit here." We said, "Why? What's the matter with sitting here?" He's like, "Well, it's just too close to my picture," which of course was him saying, "Look at my picture." He's up on the wall holding the Scottish Am trophy, signed and all that stuff. It was brilliant, but it was brilliant playing with Zander. I mean, It's nice to finally play with a proper ball striker. Actually, Sam.
Yeah, thank you.
It was it was good to see him. I mean, we are. I mean, how this hasn't had a yellow warning for wind is quite absurd.
Yeah,
it's
so
it's
one
the
of the first
strongest wind
takeaways from our time there.
ever played golf.
I've never
in.
played golf in wind like this.
Consistent. It's 40 miles an hour, and it has been for 3 days.
It has it, and it's not gusting at 40. It's
It
a
is
stock
40.
40 mile an hour,
Yeah.
45, gusting north. For context, we played the 11th at Renaissance yesterday, and the hole is about 100. It was 112.
We played
I
off
think,
the
to
ladies.
the pin. Yeah, played off the ladies. It was 112 to the pin. I think I hit flat out 5-iron, which I'd usually cover. I'd take about 190 maybe or something for that. I was 30, 40 yards short.
Yeah, it was.
Neil in our group hit a 4-iron, and he's a big hitter as well.
Yeah, 2 handicap. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And he's throttled this 4-iron, and he still had 75 yards left.
It just spun.
That's
for
the sort of
days,
wind
didn't
you're
it?
dealing with. So
I was actually in a bunker today in Dunbar
you can
that-
have too much wind, can't
that
you?
I hit a 56 out of pretty well, pretty flush, and it landed behind me.
Yeah.
It went up and up and up and forward, and then stopped and came back and finished. It landed in front of me, but finished behind me. It was quite excessive.
Would you say you can have too much wind on links golf?
Yeah, I think so. It was difficult. I think we talked about this on the way around. It was difficult to grasp the nuances and the subtleties of a course when you are in all-out war with nature.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to stand up was quite difficult. Swinging a golf club was attritional.
I mean, I don't know my wind speeds maybe as much, but 20 mile an hour, that's a really good links breeze. Generally, from what, it's 20 mile an hour today, you kind of just store it in your mind somewhere. That's a good breeze. That's a 2 or 3 club wind, sometimes. That's a tough links breeze. 40's almost unplayable.
Yeah,
Because
40's
there's
a lot.
literally no advantage downwind. There's almost no advantage. You just can't stop the shot.
Yeah,
And
especially
then
on quick
into
greens.
it's
Those
just
greens
heinous.
were quick. Was
Yeah,
it Paul?
well,
Was
we
it
got-
Paul Armour?
Paul Armour, the course manager.
Course manager. He came out and we had a chat with him on about 14, 15, something like that. And he was previously up at St Andrews, worked with Gordon McKee up there.
Yeah, so he was deputy manager of the links at
Yeah, that's
St Andrews
right, yeah.
Links Trust across all the courses there.
Yeah, and we were there in our about.
I don't think you need long socks. I don't think you need long socks with
Yeah, we're
shorts
that-
at Dunbar, but I seem to take matters into my own hands. So I got
You're
the
in your
Rye
long
socks on.
Your Rye long socks. I got my deal socks.
So he
on.
ran over to show us the shots.
He was
didn't
wearing his deal socks. It was. He said that James Bledge down, who was formerly down at Deal, now at Royal Liverpool, sent him the socks up, and we were there like talking about our golf club socks.
Such
It's
a-
weird how like
Such
socks
a
can
knobby
bring
golf
people together.
conversation, wasn't it? But yeah, so it was really interesting having a chat with him. So because I thought it was really, really firm. I said, guys, like, this is rock hard. He was like, yeah, there's quite a bit of fescue in the fairways and everything. Like, they're quite high count on it. It was interesting. He said that, we'd had quite a wet April, but then almost, in the space of a week, with all this wind that they've had, it's like aerated the course so that it's now gone absolutely firm hard. Obviously, they've now got the growth. Condition of it was absolutely unbelievable.
Off the charts, wasn't it?
Dunbar's getting played a lot. Dunbar's a really busy golf club, full tee sheet every day, and it was just pure, really, really pure.
Yeah, it was one of those days where like I don't think I saw anyone need to repair a pitch mark because it's just so firm. It's
No, but the fairways aren't chewed up. Like, everything's just, everything from like, just the little things. I know you're going to say like, oh, he's off transitions, but, really clever how the holes tie in together. You can see they've done so much good stuff with rough management. Thinking about the fact that the width and the playing lines, if rough's up in a certain area, it's there intentionally.
Yeah, it was, and the way that you roll off green to tee was magnificent, and it was just
Finishing
it's a
around
quirky
bunkers,
start.
the whole lot. It was just brilliantly presented. You could just tell that this wasn't like, oh, it's good ground and a good layout, and they've got some nice bunkers. It's just presented brilliantly. Like, there's clearly a lot of craftsmanship that's going in on a daily basis. How they're cutting things,
But it's, golf's been played there a long time. It's one of those ones you kind of get up in East Lothian and Fife where you're like, yeah, we're not quite sure, but they've been playing golf here for like 400 years, and it has been altered over time. You know, it's been an 18-hole golf course for quite some time. It's had old Tom Morris came in and did some of the routing when they extended it to 18. It's had Ben Sayers and James Braid be involved with it. So, you know, when James Braid's basically been everywhere in Scotland, but when he's involved, it's generally good stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the whole routing of it, the land is just so good. But it's interesting because the clubhouse is just on the sea there as you come in, and I think they've now agreed that they're going to move that across to the end of the first, change the numbers a little bit, because it's a weird start in terms of you play back-to-back par fives to start, and then you basically then cross the wall over towards to the further fourth. And then that's like you're in the real links land then, and it's kind of along the Firth all the way down, and by moving the clubhouse out to the back of one, which I think is what they're thinking of doing, they can then start on what is the second, which is a par five, and finish on the first, which is a par five. So they spread those par fives out, and it's a shame because the clubhouse was
I thought
cool
the
as well.
clubhouse has some straight up vibes.
Yeah.
Some really cool little captain's room, which have just so much of that kind of light wood panelling everywhere, and pool table, and just has a great feeling in the air. You know, it's you know, the blackboards there with the menu and all that's, you know, there's just some little detailings that just feels very, you know, authentic. Just in terms of the course, anyone that's been to Dunbar will know this anyway, but there's an ancient wall that cuts pretty much to the whole length of the course,
Spine
along really for that out and back. It goes for the most of the distance, and you play holes 1, 2, and 3 in this sort of, it's not a paddock, but it's like an area the other side of the wall. The other 15 holes you play on the other side, which kind of run right through the coast. I remember last time thinking, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, you're just kind of just loosening your shoulders, and then the action starts happening on 4. But they're a nice couple of par fives to open. I mean, it's certainly not a traditional way of opening a golf course with two up and down par fives.
That used to be a deer park.
Really?
Yeah. So when it was, they had 14 holes, and that was a deer park on that side, and they got the land off the deer park and added 1, 2, 3, and 18 as we play them today. But that's why it does feel not out of sync, but it's not the same as soon as you cross the wall. It's
it's exactly the same land though. So everything's. I mean, 3 is a magnificent par 3 from up the top down, and then this is where it really comes alive. And anyone who's visited, I would say it's possibly the best reveal that you can get, because the wall's high. The wall's 8 feet ish in height, so you're not going to be looking over it unless your name's Robert Wadlow. And you go through, you know, this little gap in the wall, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow. You've got the craggy shores right up to your feet. You're teeing off, you know, as close as you can, you know, pretty much in the sea. You play this wonderful short 4, and then the next, you know, pretty much the entire course then just hugs that coastline on the way up. It's great reveal.
Yeah, and we played in a fairly, like we said, the wind is strong here in East Lothian at the moment, but it's an odd wind, so it's a strong northerly wind. So we're playing these golf courses that aren't designed with that wind in mind. So a lot of the shorter par 4s we're playing downwind, and a lot of the longer par 4s we're playing into. So it's one of those days. It's been one of those trips where like stroke play need not apply. It's match play.
Yeah, it's match play golf.
Because
we played Dalmar, didn't we? So we should actually come in here. So me and Jason were playing against you and Zander.
Shout out, he's been a friend of the pod and come to a lot of our events, and he's hosting us up here in East Lothian, so we've had a good time with Jason. But just to give it some context, you've got to expect everyone to know who Jason is.
Exactly.
My mate Jason.
But we just drew straws, whatever. So me and Jason taking on you and Zander. You know, Zander, as I say, honorary member at Dunbar, won the Scottish Amateur Champion. You know, Scottish Amateur
Pro at Renaissance.
Yeah, this guy's going to be decent. Anyway, I've said early doors, me and Jason are a couple down. We're going to get absolutely steamrolled in this game. Like, we just can't keep pace. So I've said, well, let's put Dalmire in play. Those who don't know what Dalmire ruling is, when you go 2 down in the match, the side that are down get a shot every hole until they get it back to all square, which actually I think works quite nicely.
Well, it just means that you're never out of it, really. I mean,
it's cool.
There was a bit of heartbreak for you, I think, when the first time you went, we went Dalmire, and I think you were on the green in 2, and Zander would miss the green, and he gets up and down, chips in 1 putt, and you 3-stab for a 5 or a half, and you're like, oh, God's sake.
Embarrassing. But yeah, it was sick, wasn't it? And then we went, I seem to remember, stood over a putt on 15, thinking to myself, I'm 1 down. I actually would rather miss this putt so I can get Dalmire on the go.
So you can go 2 down, yeah.
Yeah, because if I can go 2 down...
I mean, that's the excuse you give for missing the
rather
putt.
than halving and staying at 1 down. If I miss it, I can get on Dalmire and then I'll get shots all the way in. True to form, I missed the putt. No, I didn't try and miss a putt. I've never tried to miss a putt. But
then Zander had like a 3-footer, and we were actually like, well, because he had a 3-footer to win the hole, and we were thinking the other way around. We were thinking, we should probably miss this actually, half this hole.
Yeah, so we don't have to put it on.
So we don't have to give you...
It's a ridiculous format when you think about it. But
it's good fun.
So then we had a shot every hole. So 16... got a shot, I think got it back to 1. 17 halved after I knifed a 7-iron through the back, which meant we're 1 down going down 18. And then I've got a shot and I've made an up and down 4 with a shot for a net 3. I mean,
how you can take a shot on the 18th.
So I think,
Stroke 10.
there's no pictures on the scorecard. I come away from that and just think, yeah, you know what? I've gone toe to toe with the Scottish Amateur Champion and I've come out with a half. And I think, for a bog standard
other people playing.
Yeah,
I was playing.
I know,
Jason was playing.
I know. But I've got a half out of it against the Scottish Amateur Champion. I'm of course being sarcastic, but
not a true-headed jest, though, isn't it?
Cool fun, the Dalmire. Talk to me about the course. Favourite holes, favourite stretches.
There's a cool par 5 that's around about. It was one of those days. We probably had too many glasses of red wine last night, so we turned up this morning with a little bit of a sore head. And
7:36 was an early tee time.
We're not. I didn't even have a scorecard in my pocket. You just kind of like, oh, what are we playing? This is par 4. Okay, let's go. And so I don't. True to form, I don't particularly know which number holes that I'm going to be talking about. There's a par 5. You are next to the wall and you tee off over a hill, and it's you smoked your drive down there, and then you were like, oh, I'm going to be miles down here. No, you're here, mate. No, I'm miles down. No, you're just here.
Sorry, 9. Yeah, 9.
And that, that was a really cool hole, I thought.
Yeah, well, there's that brilliant bit where you tee up. It's almost like a blind drive, but then you get onto this little plateau, and the further you go down this plateau, eventually, like the next sort of swathe of coastline opens up, which apparently Jason said that on the right you can see a factory, and that's Scotland's only concrete factory. I thought that was a particularly Anaraki type of statement. But
cement factory, that was it. And I was like, why do you need to make cement? And he was looking at me like I was an idiot. But I just thought cement was like sand. I think
it was the sort of Anorak knowledge that, I was pretty impressed with that. Yeah, I agree. I think that's
cool
really
good.
It
was a cool hole. I think it was because it is very much like as soon as you get to 4, it's an out and back. The first 3 are a little loop, and then it's out and back from 4 onwards. But there is one that goes against the grain. I think it's like 13 or 12.
Yeah, you just turn back and play that.
Hole.
And that's got a brilliant green side, that huge little bowl at the
very
front.
Very fourth Royal St George's type of vibes.
Yeah. I think that's...
But like really short, quirky...
Fourth at Royal St George's?
The green. That swathe at the front left, the huge dip in the green and then up to the top.
Yeah, sort of. It's definitely got like a little... Yeah, there's a huge bowl, isn't there?
But it's a really cool hole, that.
I asked that question about favourite holes because I don't know if there really is actually...
I'd say it was that one.
There's some real good holes, standout holes, but actually it's like it's a better package,
Yeah.
It's not... I don't think it's leaning on... I don't think Kilspindy's a fair comparison with Dunbar. I don't think they are the same golf course. But if you look at those 2 East Lothian courses, I think you'd come away from Kilspindy and you'd say, yeah, you know what, holes 3, holes 4, banging golf
the first,
holes.
5
7, I think it is, the par 3 across the bay. Whereas Dunbar, I'd look at and go, it's actually just really consistently great, and as such, it's greater than some of its parts. I think is
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about Kilspindie, because I mean, you get the impression that there's similar members clubs, proper members clubs,
Local Scottish members club.
But what's interesting is that we've been doing Cookie Jar for a good few years now, and it really took off in earnest back in 2020, and we've done a hell of a lot of Scotland golf now, but kind of this is the first trip I've been on where it feels like the international community is here. Like we've been in the COVID times.
Even last year's no international travel was there really.
No,
Certainly
like
none of the American trips.
And it's interesting. Like here we're sat Berwick through this beautiful windows here they've got on Marine Lawn, and it's like there's a lot of Americans, there's a lot of caddies, there's a lot of four balls. It's very, very busy. Like it's
the international golf tourism market is back on, isn't it? It's end of May, it's early June, it's like the season is here. And for 2 years they haven't had, a Marine Lawn, a fabulous hotel, very much geared towards, the international golf traveller that's coming to North Berwick for a special few days. I've never noticed it so much. Maybe I'm not doing so many trips to Scotland pre-Cookie Jar and pre-COVID, but yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And
we were first out this morning, so we were 7:30, so we had the whole course to ourselves. We ran around. It didn't affect our golf whatsoever. It was absolutely fine. But as we came off, we had to wait for about 90 seconds to get in the pro shop.
Yeah,
because there's just a stream of people coming out of this pro shop.
Which is great. Like we should say that's great for the club.
The Scottish golf is filling their boots.
But every club's like this, right, at the moment. So, East Lothian it's just a golfing mecca, but it's so busy with golf, which is great because there's more people playing the sport, there's people visiting this. But you sometimes, I think you asked me the question, you were like, on the course somewhere, and you said, do you think Scotland's almost a victim of its own success with golf? What would you mean by that?
Well, I imagine if you were a member of an East Lothian golf club, it's not as straightforward for them to play their golf course as it is for us who are in the Midlands in England, where if I want to play on Saturday,
we struggle to drag visitors to Blackwell.
It's no big deal. I can go play whenever I want. I haven't got to think about that. I imagine if I were a member here, somewhere in East Lothian, I'd have to plan my golf pretty meticulously.
Yeah.
Which when I asked, do you think it's a victim of its own success? It's kind of it's. I mean, I think we had an argument last night. It's full of hyperbole, and I was saying that from this position in the hotel, you could see like 40 world-class golf courses because you can see across the Firth of Forth as well. But the reality is, along this stretch of land, there are 10 outrageously good golf courses, and people come here to travel. They come here to play all the golf courses, and I don't know. I just think I'm just aware it's very, very busy, and I wonder whether how the members feel about that. Really,
yeah, it is a really hard one because it's so sort of nuanced, isn't there? So many great things about having like an it's essentially a limitless. Well, it's impossible to fill the demand for Scottish golf tourism.
Yeah, North Berwick, which we're looking at now, you've talked about this before. It was a hidden gem. Like when your dad came and he was like, Christ, I had to play golf over a wall, and there was this green that was split in two, and then there was this par 3 that you kind of huge bunkers you have to hit up to, and then it all runs away, and and now that story's told. Everybody knows it's here, everybody knows it's good, and everybody wants to come, which is drives up the cost of golf here. I mean, the cost of golf here is expensive. There's no getting around it.
Well, I think for the visitor, isn't it? And that's one of the interesting thing. And I'm not getting into this. Isn't specifically about Dunbar. This is just a broader, I think, context point about Scotland golf that we're talking about here. But when you look at the green fees for golf courses at a factor versus what maybe the local membership cost would be, you're looking at, ratios in the order of like 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1. Whereas you look at, places that are maybe in England that normal members clubs in England, you're looking at a factor of, 10, 15, 20 quite easily. So
and certainly the places you can book.
But that's positive, because what that means is then the local member that can enjoy that course does so at a ridiculously good price, because their subs are fully subsidised by all these visitors. But it does look like, I think we always have a go at pace of play, but I see 4 balls with caddies, and I see 5 shots in a bunker, and, groups teapotting stood on the tee behind, and you're like, yeah, do you know what? This could just be more magical. Like the whole experience of visiting places like North Berwick or Gullen or Dunbar or whatever could just be more magical if people just got through the course quicker.
But it's an impossible question, because what do? Do you put green fees even higher? I mean, let's just, and then say we want less or fewer visitors. It's kind of like, that's not right either. Like you don't want golf to be inaccessible. So,
and you see it at the very high end clubs. So when by that I mean like the real sort of top end, luxurious private clubs, like whether you're talking about the Loch Lomans, the Renaissance of the world, the Glen Eagles and stuff. But what's clear is that in golf, just simple economics does not produce the right results for clubs. So if you actually followed simple economic models of optimize the course, charge what the right thing is, whether that's charge what the membership market value would be, etc., etc., it doesn't always get you the right outcome, and it's just such a weird thing to manage. I don't know what we're saying in this, but it's just, I think what big thing is stark observation. God, so much international travel, which is great. But it's like when we've done our previous trips, you notice it's a much more local playing membership that's getting through the course a lot quicker.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the thing about East Lothian as well is that there are some headline acts. North Berwick, the Muirfield, they're places that people would go out of their way from any part of the world to go and play. But then you've got these other courses that are on the same land, like you've got Gullen 1 and 2, you've got Dunbar that we played today. That if you took away those headline acts, the North Berwick, like you would travel to go play those places. They are just as good, but just don't grab the headlines. Don't have the history, or North Berwick's a different one because it's got the beer, it's green, it's got the Redan, it's got the pit, it's so full of quirk and charm, and people want to come do that. Muirfield's got the open and there's HSEG and everything that goes with that. But then, these other places are just brilliant. Like absolutely, I think Dunbar's a hugely overlooked golf course still for just maybe the British punter that's coming up and for a few days golf. A lot of people message us and talk to us about their golf itineraries. Dunbar rarely features. Kind of like that Ely thing. It's like you should 100% go and play Dunbar. You should 100% go and play Gullen 2 and Gullen 3 and Gullen 1. You should definitely go and see these places. It's not about the trophies or the trophy courses or the headliners. But people would come here to Scotland. Say if you're maybe you're an American and you say, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play North Berwick, I'm going to play Muirfield, and I'm going to drive across to Fife and we'll play St Andrews and we'll play Carnoustie, and then maybe I'll drive up and play Tramp Aberdeen and Cruden Bay. And you're like, there's no need. Like, it's all here. Like, everything is here. Everything is in Fife as well. The same as Aberdeen. There's millions of really, really good golf courses around wherever you want to go that you don't have to travel, really.
We're also guilty of this as well, but you can put too much into a golfing itinerary. Classic example, we've done it again, haven't we? Because we want to play as many courses. So we've done Gullen 1, Gullen 2, Renaissance. We've got more in us still. I'm knackered and we've got more golf probably this afternoon and tomorrow. But, Dunbar, but actually there's something to be said for just rinse, repeat at one course and just play it over and over. And linking it back to Dunbar, I actually think Dunbar's a brilliant example of a course like that because it is quite nuanced. The holes are different. They ask different questions of you. But if the wind's pointing it a different way, that whole course would play totally different. Playing against the head of that wind going down on the outward 9. If you played it in the opposite one, you're playing a completely different golf course the next day.
It's it was. I was really, really blown away by it. Just the turf is just
turf's really good.
So good,
like really good.
Yeah. So it's only really we were inspired. We had we tend to take our podcasting gear with us wherever we go, and if something happens or we meet someone interesting, we never really planned to do one today, but we were inspired by Dunbar. It was one of those ones where you're like, this is just how is this not?
Well,
why am I not hearing more about Dunbar?
Quite cool hearing about the 2002 Open a little bit as well, isn't it? So obviously, Steve Elkington, he won the bloody Open, didn't he, at Muirfield that year? I did not know he had to qualify, and he qualified at Dunbar and slid through on. It wasn't a playoff, but it was a playoff.
No, it was. It was a playoff. It was a 5-man playoff for 3 spots. So they played down
4-man playoff for 3 spots because one guy missed the spot for the playoff.
No, it was 5, then 4, and then all 4 guys. Beaver in the story. Anyway, it was a 5-man playoff. So they played down 1. One of them dropped out. So now it's 4 spots for 3 spots for 4 players. So they tee off 2, and as they're walking down the second hole, they get a call saying someone's dropped out of the Open. All 4 of you in.
Jeez.
Yeah. Imagine if you're that one guy who maybe bogeyed that first playoff hole or.
That's a magical Open, that 2002. I think, we're going to start doing quite a bit of content about the Open on the lead up now to the 150th and stuff. And, whether it's Hagen's win in 1922 at George's or the 2002 Open at Muirfield, there's just so many great stories, aren't there? And, chatting to people about that at Muirfield and, the nature of the win and stuff. But wouldn't it have been remarkable when you think coming through qualifying there in that setting to then go on and win it eventually? It's unbelievable stuff.
The days of that are dwindling though. The ability to qualify and go through and win. I mean,
I think nothing else fair to say.
It doesn't feel like that's a thing that we're going to see again, unfortunately. We're digressing enormously here from.
No, but I think just bringing it back to it, spend some time at Dunbar today. Passionate, loved it, had such a great time. Wanted to do a podcast to talk about the club a little bit.
And one of the all-time bacon sandwiches.
Really good sandwiches.
Credit where credit's due.
I had iron brew. I was struggling a little bit, so I just figured I needed some sugar. So I had iron brew with a bit of ice, and I had link sausage, bacon and egg bab. I mean, it was the breakfast of champions.
Yeah, it was very good.
I was like a new man after that.
Nothing worse than floppy bacon. It was nice crispy bacon.
No, I had a great time there today. Playing first, getting out early and having an empty course made that though as well. Yeah. And I think looking at, a lot of the courses at the moment over around Scotland, as I said, busy, really, really busy. Which is great to see.
Busier, certainly with the Open coming up, the 150th, it's going to be a lot of tourism to Scotland. In the next few months, of course, you got the Scottish Open at Renaissance in 5 weeks, so there's going to be a lot of.
And before we sign off, I will just bang the drum on those two things as well. St Andrews Open 150th. If you are going to be there, please do get in touch. There is going to be some genuinely unbelievable stuff happening, where we're going to team up with a couple of our friends and do some cool stuff around that. So we're going to get some mailing lists put together so we can communicate some of the different events that will be going on, so that people have got an opportunity to choose which parts and things that they want to go to, depending on if they're there for the Thursday or there for the Sunday Saturday, and we're going to kick around Sunday morning or whatever that might look like. So we'll just get in touch. And also, we should say, huge thank you again to Marine Lawn for having us. We bit of a short notice trip. It's hard getting hold of accommodation. The guys put us up. It's an unbelievable spot where we're sat having a drink. So
view's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, until next time.
Adios.
Watch this.